Rachel Reeves has been called out for removing content from her website, which makes it absolutely plain that she's done a major flip-flop regarding her previous support for women that have missed out on thousands of pounds in pension payments, which of course she's now ruled out paying compensation for. But don't worry, the internet has your back, and I'll be able to reveal what it was she's removed from her website in this video. But first of all, if you're new to me, I'm Daniel Shensmith, a barrister of England and Wales. Please do subscribe to the channel. I did have a dream last night that I reached 1 million subscribers, so that remains my dream. So please hit subscribe, I'd be really grateful. Check out my chatbot that's scrolling along the bottom as well. That will help you with parking appeals and all sorts of other stuff. But first of all, let's go back in time, shall we? Let's go back to 2016. This was from the Telegraph then, and a minister at the time had suggested that women that missed out on thousands of pounds in their pension should instead be going to the job centre claiming benefits and job seekers allowance. And this was met with ridicule and criticism by, you guessed it, Rachel Reeves at the time. There's a whole bunch of tweets here that she's probably forgotten to delete. But this goes way back, and including some from 2016. She was making comments here about the changes to pension. Westminster Hall, starting at the bottom, packed for a state pension age debate. Important, she says, that women's voices are heard. Just remember, in case it wasn't clear and gets confusing, she's now that she is Chancellor, has ruled out making any of these payments. So now she's in a position to actually pay out on what she's complaining about here. And she's ruled out paying it, saying that it's not a good use of money. And I'll come back to that in a moment as well. But back in 2016, she was arguing fiercely that women's voices should be heard. Great speeches, again, she says, on state pension age debate. Pensions minister having a bad day, she says. Women should claim job seekers allowance rather than pension. Now claiming that the pension age handled well. She complains, obviously in a fairly sarcastic tone. On the 12th of December, she says, this was in 2019 now, she says on the 12th of December, check what your candidate will do for women on equal pay, maternity, and for 1950s WASPy women. Most of all, make sure your voice is heard by voting. Then again, there's another one. These are out of order because of the replies and stuff, you understand. But another one from 2016, going up the page here. Outrageous from government minister. Women don't want unemployment benefit. They want the pensions they've contributed to. Again, fiercely arguing that they should have this pension money. A good day for our shadow pensions minister, Angela Rayner, at the time, on changes to state pension age. Keep up the pressure. Ministers totally refusing to offer any hope to women facing sharp increases in their pension age. Transitional arrangements instead. And then she says here, this is where we get onto the important point here. These two top tweets. Pleasure to speak in the state pension age debate and talk about women who are being treated so badly. Government, please listen, she says. And in the latest one, which gives rise to the removal of content, which shows this whole flip-flop, here she says, my speech from debate regarding the state pension age for women born in the 1950s. Link to her website, but page not found. It's been removed. But the internet has your back. This was said speech. Let me mute myself and take a listen to this.
Those women being forced to wait longer for their pension and hit twice by changes in 1995 and then again in 2011 have been done an injustice. As Shadow Pensions Minister in 2011, I was proud to work with Age UK, the trade union USDOR, and very many women, including my mother, to call on the government to think again.
So the huge irony of all this was her mum was in the same position. And so she was fiercely arguing on behalf of her own mother as well as everybody else. Now, you may disagree that the women subject to these changes deserve the payout. You may well think, well, they should have known about it, just roll with the times and the changes and just live with it. That might be your view. I'm not criticizing you if that is your view. But equally, if you believe they should have the payout, then you're entitled to that view as well. This video is not to criticize one or the other. There are arguments on both sides. The point here is I don't understand how somebody can flip-flop so drastically on these issues, be campaigning and fighting and screaming and shouting and debating and making speeches on things like this, and then change your mind. But without actually saying, yeah, I changed my mind on that. And I don't know whether she has said that. I haven't heard every word she's ever said, of course, being the lawyer about it. But anyway, let's listen on.
And we were pleased then to win a partial concession so that no woman had to wait for more than an extra 18 months before they could claim their pension. But I said then, and I say again today, that it does not go far enough in righting this wrong. There are still 2.6 million women who have lost out as a result of the government rewriting the rules, of whom 300,000 will have to wait an extra 18 months before they can retire. Last week...
And those figures, by the way, the 300,000, I think that is still somewhat accurate. I don't know every letter and chapter and verse on this, but I think those figures are still reasonably accepted today.
I caught up with Barbara Bates, who lives in County Durham, who I campaigned with in 2011. Even after the government's concession, Barbara still faces working an extra 78 weeks before she will see her state pension. The osteoarthritis affecting her wrists and her...
I'll link this below so you can go and watch the full thing. But as of today, recently, 18th of December, a few days ago, this was her position and this is how it's changed.
I understand that women affected by the changes to the state pension age feel disappointed by this decision, but we looked in full at the Ombudsman recommendations, and they said that around 90% of women did know that these changes were coming. And as Chancellor, I have to account for every penny of taxpayers' money spent. And given that the vast majority of people did know about these changes, I didn't judge that it would be the best use of taxpayers' money.
And I'll link that below as well so you can go and watch that. So the point here is the stark difference. Some people will criticise me for... In fact, some people do criticise me for talking about this, talking about politics, etc., etc. The vast majority of people do enjoy this content, I think, because the like to dislike ratio, the comments you leave, etc. So I make no apology for talking about these issues, which do affect hundreds of thousands of people. Millions of people in some cases. But these are the points that people are upset about. These are the stark contrasts. Now, again, likewise, I don't think previous governments have done fantastically well either. I agree that there's been significant problems over the last 10, 20 years, in particular the last 14 years of the previous government. There's a lot of things that could be changed and improved. The main point here is the stark contrast between what she has campaigned for and fought for and shouted for before. And now that she's in power and actually has the authority to pay out on what she was campaigning for, in previous speeches saying it's not enough, doesn't go far enough, that these women are missing out, etc., etc. Now that she has the power to do that, she's not doing that. She's not making that call. Now, I'm going to some of you, sound out of character for a moment and offer some sort of defence here in two different ways. First of all, things have changed. Now, I'm not going to jump on the Starmer bandwagon and say £22 billion black hole, which they don't seem to really fully articulate and specify. But things have changed. So there have been a great deal of changes. There has been an uncovering of lots of different things that have happened and can change the landscape significantly, etc. Now, most of what they've decided here, I don't support. I don't think that's a secret. This is not me being biased. This is me saying to you, there's a lot of these things I don't support for very good reasons. I don't support the VAT on school fees because I think the government could find that money elsewhere. If they're looking to raise whatever it is these days, 1, 2, 3 billion, whatever they think they're going to raise from it, they could raise that somewhere else. They could shave it off something else instead of upheaving many tens upon tens of thousands of school children out of their education. They could find that money elsewhere. And yes, I mean, look, Keir Starmer makes the point, all children deserve this. And yes, of course I support that. He says all parents aspire to have the best for their children. Of course I support that. I've done voluntary teaching in schools right from... Tell you a little story. Right from when I was, how old would I have been when I started? I was about 15 years old when I started doing different things business-wise, one of which I would run music workshops And obviously I ran them to earn money, but I also ran them for free for special education needs schools. I would go into those schools and I would do that for free because I felt that that was the right thing to do. And I felt that all schools needed, some schools would pay me to come in and do it and teach their children, basic rhythm, basic music, and teach them about different instruments, and be like the Animal Man, if you remember that. I used to go into schools and do that with music, but I was 16 years old at the time, 15, 16 years old. Now I went into these special education needs schools and did that for free because I felt they deserved it as well, but they obviously could not necessarily afford it. And even if they could, I didn't feel it right to charge them for it. So I went in to do it for free. And to this day, I'll remember I was running one session and one young child suddenly burst into smiles and was all happy. And that was fairly normal to the reaction to music and interaction and things like that. But then all of a sudden, all of the staff got cameras out, they ran around, they started taking photos, and all the staff were jumping up and down with joy. And I sort of was taken aback by that. And I said to them, what's going on? Why is this so significant? And they said to me, this is the first time they've ever seen that child smile and have that kind of interaction and, and laugh with people. Obviously the cameras and everything was because the parents had not seen them smile and laugh before. So they all rushed out to take photographs and whatever, because they wanted the parents to see it. And I was speechless, and I'm speechless today. And that was many years ago. And so, yes, I agree with all of that. I agree with supporting education for every child and everything else. But they can find this money elsewhere. They don't need to take it. And this is why I'm so angry at this sort of thing. They don't need to disrupt tens of thousands of children's education when they could take the money from elsewhere. Now, when they spend billions of pounds on climate change and billions of pounds on wars in other countries, and yes, there are reasons to justify why they want to. I'm sure that there are reasons beyond my information and knowledge and experience. There are probably many reasons why they want to support all of these things in other countries, but it would not make this proportionate difference to what's going on out there, to the tens of thousands of children they are disrupting here. And in my view, it is not justified to disrupt all of these children's education, taking that money to dump it into state schools. They should find that money elsewhere. That is my personal view. And there are countless legal arguments as to why that is so wrong. And likewise, my business experience, there are arguments that none of the cabinet in government have any experience running any business whatsoever. Well, I've been running businesses well over 25 years now. And I understand how businesses work. I understand the economics. Whilst I'm not qualified in economics, I very much understand those. And so I disagree with a lot of these policies. And coming back to the point, I said there were 1 or 2 points to defend her here. The first point was a lot of things have changed, and there's probably a lot of information that's been uncovered that's push them into considering different things, all with the caveat, you understand, and the very wide sideline that I went on my little story, but all with the caveat that there are things that I don't agree with. There's probably a lot that has changed that now makes her feel that she has to make these decisions and rule out spending any of this money on those women that were affected by those pension changes. And the second reason is quite possibly there are pressures that are not obvious, that she can't talk about, from other people, from other areas of governance of this country that none of us are aware of. And it very much seems to me, when you take two so starkly different views, it's almost like it's not the same person. The point is even made here by Rush, who did this initial tweet. He says, Labour has the money for Ukraine, Syria, Africa, China, Pakistan, but none for our own elderly. And I would tack on to that the school children. In my view, they are tearing it off these schools. And the government response that came out that said, a lot of schools will be only 10% increase at the end of it. Well, the ones that I've seen that people have sent to me are 19.8% increase on the fees, which is thousands of pounds a year. Now, if someone said to you, let's say in a state school, if someone suddenly said to you to send your child to the state school, suddenly you've got to pay, £5,000, £8,000, £10,000 a year on top of all your other taxes for your child to go to school. How would that sit with you? Would they still be able to go to school? Because the parents that send those to private schools are already paying for those private school fees. This is on top of that, even though they don't use the state schools in and of themselves, which saves on average £8,000 to £15,000 per place that they don't take up. So as Rush puts it here, they have the money for Ukraine, for Syria, for Africa, for all these wars and climate change stuff going on all over the place. But they don't have it for these women, and they don't have it for the school children. They were trying to take it off the school children, etc. But it's the stark contrast and the difference, really, that jumps out to me. And at the end of the day, why hide it? That was her view previously. There's no hiding. There is no hiding. I mean, she hasn't deleted these tweets. These are all still here. This is her account. It's verified. These were her own tweets. This is what she said. She linked to this page. I haven't verified that this video was from that page, but it seems to be the case. It seems to have been, if not the speech recording, it's a variation thereof, because this is by Mail Online. One reason I didn't play it all, you can go and watch it yourselves with the Mail Online video, but the difference is stark, and you can see the difference yourself. So that was what I was going to do yesterday. I promised somebody that I would do that, and I would do that in a video for you. Let me know your thoughts and comments below. This is utterly infuriating to see such a difference, but as I say, there's got to be more to it. As a lawyer, there must be more to this than just changed her mind, because otherwise I don't understand why the stark difference. It raises that very valid question. Why? Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching.